On Transworld Sport this week, we take a leap of faith with some bridge divers in Bosnia.
Fastest fingers first at the Rubik's Cube World Championships in America.
We catch up with British track and field star Lorraine Ugen.
And mountain biking's Enduro World Series reaches its conclusion in Italy.
The eighth and final round of the BMX Supercross World Cup took the riders to Santiago El Estero in Argentina.
I do think the atmosphere is a lot more relaxed here in Argentina. I think the people are more relaxed, more like a party.
Rounds 7 and 8 were staged here, not only concluding the season, but also marking the start of qualifying for the 2020 Olympics.
So I'm working towards Tokyo and hopefully I can win my gold medal there. That's a big dream.
It's a totally new day. Like you said, the weather changed. It's about probably 10 to 15 degrees cooler today. It's going to be a little bit easier racing out there.
So we have a second day today to try to do better. So I'm looking forward and I'm feeling good today. So I'll do my best.
Round 7 of the tour proved once again why the riders love this meeting. In the women's competition, there was an extremely strong field in the final. Laura Smulders, dominant all season, raced into the lead with Elise Willoughby hot on her heels. A crash on the third straight left the way for veteran Sarah Walker to take the final podium spot behind Smulders and Willoughby. The result meant that going into round 8, Smulders had already wrapped up the world title. Only 65 points separated Judy Bowe and Seiya Sakakibara in second and third.
At this point, I really want to get back into second, that's where I was, and it's a little bit disappointing to come back down the ranks.
Yaroslava Bondarenko still had the chance to claim a place on the overall podium if things went her way on the final day. Amongst the men, 2015 world champion Nick Kiman has been on winning form all season, and he looked great in round 7.
Focusing on the results is not going to make me ride any better, so I just focus on riding and hope that will end up in a good result.
Kiman's main rival for the World Cup title, Joris Dorde, was the fastest ride around the track in the heats. But Dorde went out in the semis whilst Kiman eased his way through. In the final, Corbin Shara took an early lead with local favourite Gonzalo Molina right behind. Kiman got beat on the line by Jared Garcia in the race for third. So, going into round 8, Dorde needed to top the podium to have any chance of taking the title out of Nick Kiman's hands. The Dutchman was on 895 points, and he had his sights set on breaking the magic 1,000 points mark.
And I'll try to do the best that I can, and I believe when I do that, I have a good chance of winning the ranking.
The 384-metre track here is one of the reasons why this event is so popular with the riders.
And especially being in South America, everyone riding around like it's the last day of their life, like it's between life or death.
The track is really tight and there's a lot of fast guys going all over the place here.
The 8-metre-high start hill leads the riders into the short straight and over a step down into the first berm.
The first straight is quite short, and the inside of the first turn is really deep. You gotta stay on the inside and let nobody pass.
Tighter track like this, the guys who normally are a couple spots behind you can still be in your wheel.
It's not too technical, it's not too hard, but it's definitely a good racetrack.
Not a track that would suit a rider like me exactly, but still, I believe I can have some good racing on this track.
And so to round 8 action and the finals.
Watch the gate.
Final time for the elite women here in Santiago del Estero, round 8 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. Saya Sakakibara might get a whole shot. Laura Smulders is right there with her. So the the Australian and the Dutch rider battling away. That looks like Elise Willoughby in there in 3 for Alicia Stansel in there in 4. What's going to happen, Jason?
Looks like Sakakibara had the start of her life. Let's see if it can be the race of her life, because Smulders is pulling up, and Elise Willoughby might be there to take advantage of the whole thing. But it's going to be Sakakibara, Willoughby pulling up. Let's see what happens. They're going to go 3 across. Not sure Sakakibara, Willoughby and Smulders, triple photo finish. Go to the official. Sakakibara figured out her gate starts right at the right time. That semifinal and now this main event. First straight of her life. Dutch riding just hunting her down, and Elise Willoughby just wanting that win. So we will see what the official is. I'm not going to call it.
And it is.
Those are the results. So it looks like Saya Sakakibara wins the final round, followed by Smulders, Willoughby, Christensen, Stansel, Bow, Van Hoof, and Walker.
I saw Laura and Elise stuff up the first jump, and I was able to get it clean. So I was like, yep, I'm taking this. And then I got the whole shot, but I knew that they were hunting me down all the way to the last corner and last straight. My legs were like jelly down the last straight, but after I lunged, I was like, I had no idea who won, but it was pretty awesome to get the win today. And knowing that I can win a World Cup, so it's amazing to, get this win and carry it on to next year.
On to the men's final now, and who would come out on top?
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Down the hill they go, everyone off to a clean start. Graf not off to a clean start. Daudet straight to the front. Looks like Dean's just on the outside of him. And then Molina again diving. So now Dean has to white line it into the second corner. We'll see if he can hold it together. But it's all Daudet right now. And Molina, Dean managing to stay in third.
Yeah, Dean looking good in that third spot. Molina's looking good for a second podium in 2 days. Here comes Sylvain Andre trying to work his way in round the outside. Kai White's out of it, but it looks like Joris Daudet, Molina, Dean, Andre. Oh, late charge from David Graffers.
So there's the replay. Molina out okay, but Daudet just had too much heat going into the first corner. It was just a matter of him saving third place as Daudet is running away with it. Molina, consistent second place, and then there's a battle. So Daudet also improving on his time. Daudet, Molina, Dean, Andre Graf, Keeman, Fields, and White giving his thanks and love to the crowd.
It's always satisfying to get the win. You work hard all year long, and you make a lot of sacrifice to be able to get into the main event first. But of course, to win the main event, it's the only race that counts. So winning the main event is always satisfying, and I guess it just make all the effort paid off, and you're happy, and it's amazing feeling every time.
So Nick Kimmann took the title with 975 points. Joris Daudet was just 75 points back in second. Sylvain Andre took third with 815 points.
At the beginning of the year, I set a goal to be top 3 in the ranking, because I'd always struggled with being consistent, and I thought, if I just really want to be on the podium, then I'm gonna keep pushing even on days where it's not going the way I wanted to. So then I won the first round in Paris, and I kept telling myself a fun little fact that the last 5 years in a row, the winner of the first World Cup won the ranking.
I've been pretty consistent all year long. Of course, I would have loved to win the overall, but it's how it is. Yesterday wasn't my day, and couldn't make it to the main event and get a good result, and today was better for me. So I'm happy to end the season with a win, and looking forward for next year.
Amongst the women, Laura Smulders of the Netherlands made it 3 overall World Cup titles in a row.
I didn't win here before in Santiago, so my goal was to win a round, and I wanted at least podium both days. So I matched my goal. I felt like I could do it this year more than other years, so I'm really happy I pulled all these titles off. And then finishing the year with a win and a third here in Santiago feels great, yeah.
Smulders broke the 1,000 points mark, becoming the first rider ever to do so. Meanwhile, Australia's Seiya Sakakibara has had a remarkable first season as an elite rider, finishing second overall.
To get onto the podium for the overall, I mean, I was fighting for second and third up until this point, and I was already happy to be in the podium, and to get into second today was absolutely amazing, and it kind of shows me that I can do this.
There's nothing I love as much as riding my bike. So when I came to that realization, I just realized that I wanted to make the most out of this. Didn't let myself down and just thought like, you know, maybe that goal didn't work out, but there's still next goal you can achieve, and I'm really happy I got the job done.
That's it from Santiago El Estero and the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup for 2018. Two worthy overall champions.
Time now for our sporting question. Next week, the group stage of European club football's UEFA Champions League comes to a close. Reigning champions Real Madrid qualified for the knockout stages with a game to spare. The Spanish giants' impressive European form has been in contrast to their domestic fortunes this season, epitomised by a 5-1 thumping from Barcelona in October. Madrid are aiming to win the European Cup for a fourth successive time. The last team to do so was the Real side of the late 1950s. And it's the European Cup which gives us the subject for our question. We want you to name the only team to have won more European Cups than domestic top-flight league titles. We'll bring you the answer later on. This is Goodison Park in Liverpool, England, home to Premier League football club Everton. Goodison is one of the most historic sporting venues in the UK. Dating back to 1892, it was the first purpose-built football stadium in England and the first in the land to have a triple-decker stand. Everton club painter and decorator John Manville is part of the fabric of Goodison, and he told us more about the ground they call the Grand Old Lady.
As you're walking through the streets of Liverpool, you see the terraced houses, and then you see this blue of Goodison Park. Magic. If you come into this atmosphere, it's like being enveloped. Even though you're an outsider, you get that feeling that you're within something special in the stadium. Each game is something special about it. It's more of a religion than anything else. Each family has an Everton or a couple of Everton, a couple of Reds in the family. So you go home, you have a good laugh about it. It is a family club. Everton is Evertonians. I'm John Manville, the club painter. I've been here 35 years and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Born in Everton. Played on Everton Terrace, born and bred Everton. Went to the Everton Picture House, everything to do with Everton, I was there. My dad played with Dixie Dean in the Sunday League. I've been here 35 years, so it's continuous work for 35 years, that's what it's given to me. And a free season ticket. Which isn't the reason why I stayed, but I mean, if you're in continuous work, you feel okay with yourself. And coming into work, the people that you know, and you have a laugh with, that's the basis of a good job. If you like your job, you like the people, that's it, you've got everything you need. Close-knit, and you help each other, that's how it's got to be. It's like a football team, but we don't get paid as highly as a football team. I love the smell of paint, but I haven't got no blue in my house. No, not blue at all. I love this colour though, it's a smashing colour. I think it's part of the fabric of the stadium, the colour. I mean, it represents the club, which is a warm blue. I think it's with the familiarity of it, gets you. Every door is blue and white. Blue everywhere. The crest is blue. You look at the main entrance, there's blue surrounds on the thing. But originally, the ground was green and cream. It's a beautiful colour because it actually goes darker when it's been put on. And depending on the undercoat, this is a blue undercoat. I use a dark grey undercoat, which makes it a deeper blue altogether. So you can't really see it unless you compare the two together. But it's a lovely colour to wear with. All we're doing is getting the ground ready for a team to play on the pitch. The start of the season, that's the best day you can have because the fans take over, the stewards take over. Outside the ground has been cleaned up and everything, and then you're waiting for the crowd to come in. And then the atmosphere starts to change. Everybody that isn't there normally comes in and this just lifts this place right up. And it's their ground then. You're just part of it. Derby days is, well, that's the day to be here, because the ground's actually rocking outside. And as other managers come to the ground and say, this is a fantastic atmosphere we are here.
Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina is fast becoming a popular tourist destination. Situated on the Neretva River, it's a UNESCO heritage site and is famed for its quaint medieval markets and picturesque landscape. However, just a few decades ago, Mostar was at the forefront of the biggest genocide in Europe since the Second World War. Lasting from 1992 to 1995, the Bosnian War saw Muslim Bosniaks, Orthodox Serbs and Catholic Croats take arms and engage in a bitter conflict of so-called ethnic cleansing. More bombs were dropped in Mostar than in any other city. 2,000 were killed and tens of thousands were forcibly displaced. One of the city's most iconic landmarks, the Stari Most Bridge, was destroyed. However, since being rebuilt in 2004, it has become a symbol of reconciliation. And people who live on either side of the river now come together every day to dive from this bridge.
Mostar has always been and will always be a city of three religions. Those religions fought a war that definitely took its toll on the city. But now there are very few problems, and we believe bridge diving has been one of the most important ways to bring the city together.
Bridge diving here is centuries old. It's become a rite of passage for hundreds of locals who, once experienced enough, join the Mostar Diving Club and perform for the tourists. The divers rely on donations to make their living, but it's important for them to keep their heritage alive.
This tradition is nearly 400 years old. People used to jump off this spot centuries ago, and we will continue to do so. We were just children, really, when we first became fixated by it. We would watch our idols as they jumped off the bridge, and we couldn't wait to do it.
Back when I first started diving, many things were going through my head because I was nervous. But now I don't think about anything. I just focus on the bridge, the water and myself. I look for the correct place to dive and just focus on hitting that exact spot.
None of the divers are professionally coached, so they learn by watching other members of the club. They occasionally compete in regional competitions in Mostar. The river is relatively shallow and rocky, so they have to hit a particular spot.
The old bridge is 25 metres high and the river depth is just 5 metres. So it's really important to enter the water correctly. You're only in the air for 3 seconds, but you hit the water at high speed. The water has rocks in it, and it's cold too. It's important to cool the body down before the jump to avoid temperature shock. The main danger, though, is getting the jump right from such a height. it can be life-threatening. We've had a few fatalities.
Although there are dangers involved with diving in Mostar, the popularity of the sport and the stunning scenery persuaded Red Bull to begin holding a round of the Cliff Diving World Series here in 2015. The event draws large crowds and some of the world's best cliff divers. But how do the locals feel about this new brand muscling in on their age-old tradition?
The Red Bull competition is good for the city. It prolongs the diving season here, attracts big crowds and brings in tourism. When it comes to comparing the jumps we do and those that the cliff divers do, I must say that they are very different. They jump in a different way to the two styles we use. We either jump in head first or feet first, like a swallow. Both jumps are quite dangerous. In fact, we got talking to some of the Red Bull divers after they'd seen us jump, and they said to us they would probably never dare to try what we do from that height.
The divers consider themselves the modern-day bridge keepers of this city. This city was once divided, suffered terrible bombardment and almost fell. Today, the only thing falling in Mostar is the thrill-seeking divers.
Time now for My Other Love. Paul Casey is one of the world's finest golfers. Since turning pro in 2000, the Englishman has been third in the world rankings. The 41-year-old has secured 2 PGA titles and has finished in the top 6 at the Masters on 4 occasions. Away from golf, Paul's big love is cycling.
Cycling for me is my hobby, is my passion away from golf and the family. It means sort of my other life, my other group of friends, being in amazing places, seeing amazing things, training, fitness. So it's a whole lot of things which is important for, you know, who I am and what I do. I really think there's probably a correlation between, for me, longevity of career and having another hobby. Having something to get away and get the mind off what I do. It's a great stress reliever. There's a great social aspect to it. My wife Pollyanna knows if I'm not at home or the golf club, she'll probably find me down the bike shop.
Paul recently enjoyed a biking holiday with friends in the heart of Italy's Dolomites mountain range.
I've always had bicycles. I remember being, you know, very, very young and having a bike with my brother and each having our own bikes. And then for us, that was freedom. That was able to go down the street and see mates, explore the neighborhood. Then to college, when I never had a car, didn't have money to have a car. You know, parents were spending enough money trying to give me an education, so the bicycle was all I had. And after being at university at Arizona State, tried a little bit of mountain biking, went out with still my current trainer, Damon, who I still see back there, Damon Shelton, introduced me mountain biking. And then the road biking thing, I always dabbled in. And I got a lot more into it after I actually dislocated my shoulder through the snowboarding. So although I'm not allowed to really do extreme sports, you know, I still love doing this. You've seen what goes on when I'm on the bike, and I can't think about, you know, what I did last week, mistakes I made, you know, but sometimes I'm formulating and trying to think, well, what do I need to be working on? What do I need to be working on for Birkdale and the Open and the PGA and FedEx Cup? And then the next thing you know, there's a corner coming up and I've got to make sure I don't mess it up.
The American city of Boston was the location for the 2018 Rubik's Cube World Championships. The world's best went head-to-head in 3 categories: speed cubing, fastest hand, and re-scramble. Hungarian architect and professor Erno Rubik invented the best-selling puzzle in 1974.
the whole thing is exciting for me. So I never was dreaming about that kind of popularities of the cube and the success and the number of people who are able to reach the cube and they get it and how they like it. So it's a significant fraction of the population of where you get it already, and hopefully it will be a long-lasting product.
It took the professor a month to solve his first cube, and the sport of speed cubing has evolved rapidly. The first worldwide tournament was held in 1982, with a winning solve time of 22.95 seconds. The current record stands at 4.22 seconds and was set by Australia's Felix Zemdeg. He was hoping to get his hands on a champion's ring here and a share of the $30,000 prize money.
Best thing I take home? I don't know, apart from the ring it looks pretty insanely cool, so that'd probably be the best thing. But other than that, like just having a good time and seeing a bunch of friends from around the world, being able to do that, it's quite rare.
Zemdeg overcame Canada's Bill Wang in the men's final of the speed cubing division.
Yeah, the one against Bill I knew it was going to be really close, and after the third solve when Bill had the penalty, that made me feel a hell of a lot better, because if he had been on two solves there, then I would have had to win the last two, which would be very difficult. So after the third one, it was a bit of pressure on.
In the final of the fastest hand category, Bill Wang once again made it through to the final. This time the Canadian prevailed, beating Germany's Philipp Weyer.
One. Go.
I think competing in that stage, one-on-one knockout style, is really interesting and exciting, because it depends on the other person, not just yourself. And in the last two rounds, I just go out there and try to have fun, because all of these guys are my friends too, and either way we're going to be happy. Who wins, happy for each other and happy for ourselves. So in the end, it was just a really fun experience.
In the women's competition, America's Dana Yee came out on top in the speed cubing contest.
I feel amazing, first of all. This competition was very different from every other competition I've been to. It was really cool and it was really exciting. I'm really glad that I was able to win.
In the mixed re-scramble event, the final was between Germany's Ricky Meiler and Hungary's Adam Barta. The competitors had to set the cube to a certain pattern, and in the end, it was the German who won.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to be world champion now, and I'm happy with the results. It was really close, so maybe a couple of seconds, but it was pretty intense. It was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to the next iteration of the Red Bull Championships.
Lorraine Ugen finished the 2018 athletics season as world #1 in the long jump. The 27-year-old from Great Britain has come a long way since taking up the sport at the relatively late age of 15. Following a strong junior career, Lorraine began to appear on the radar of some American colleges.
I was getting recruited by a few schools, and at first I really wasn't that interested. I love London, and I was like, I'm never leaving London, there's no reason why. But one of the schools was very persistent, and they were like, you know, we'll bring you on a visit, we'll pay for your food, your accommodation, everything, just come and have a look. I thought, let me take this quick holiday, enjoy myself out there, and then come back to London. So I went on the trip, and then I realised that, wow, it's just so much different.
In 2011, Lorraine moved to Texas Christian University in Fort Worth to study film, TV and digital media. Working under the tutelage of coach Sean Jackson, she set her sights on making the British team for the 2012 London Olympics. Lorraine went to the British trials looking for the qualifying mark of 6 metres 75.
I remember it was the second round jump, and I remember getting out the pit and looking at the crowd, and then someone was like, that was it. And in my head I thought, oh, I might have done it. And then I remember the mark came on the board and it was 6.74. And I remember like I almost celebrated and I was like, ah, because it was like, the mark, it was 6.75 and it was so close, but then I wasn't there. But then I thought, you know what, it's round 2. I've got four more jumps. I'm going to be able to get in this competition.
Unfortunately, Lorraine fell agonisingly short of an Olympic berth by just 1 centimetre, but she bounced back in 2013 by winning the prestigious NCAA title. After graduating from TCU in 2015, a breakthrough season followed, culminating in a 5th place finish at the World Championships. Then, in March 2016, a first major medal, bronze at the World Indoors. Later that year, Lorraine finally made the British team for the Olympics, but she was hampered at the Games by a hamstring injury.
I was still happy to be able to make an Olympic final. I know that even just looking back on it now, that gave me the confidence to know that even though I wasn't necessarily at 100%, I was still able to make the final and contend. So if I can make sure that I keep myself healthy and keep myself injury-free coming into the next Olympics, I really do feel like I can be contending for something.
A year after Rio, Lorraine won silver at the European Indoors. Earlier this year, she headed to Australia for the Commonwealth Games, full of confidence.
I really loved Commonwealth that might be one of my highlight trips, and that was more so because not just for competing but also for the outside life of the Commonwealth. So I feel like there was a lot of stuff that we could do in Australia and we could kind of experience, because sometimes you go to championships and you say, oh, I've been to this country or I've been to that country, but you didn't really experience it. So I feel like on this championships we also experienced the outside life of what Australia had to offer. Yeah.
At the Games, Lorraine made new friends, including Jennifer Madu, an American-born sprinter representing Nigeria.
It's kind of sad because when people watch track and field, they don't ever get to see the athletes as the person they are. They only get to see them as a competitor. But Lorraine's a goofy. She has a good time wherever she goes. She brings that positive energy. She doesn't care who's watching, and I think that just kind of makes everyone else comfortable to be around her, just because she's not worried about what everyone else is doing. So she makes jokes, she dances, even though she can't, so it's fine.
At the Commonwealths, Lorraine finished 4th in a high-quality long jump final, but her Games experience didn't end there. One of England's 100-metre sprinters picked up an injury before the relay final. With both the reserves racing in the 4x400 relay, it was down to Lorraine to anchor the team home. Given a comfortable lead by Asher Phillip, Dina Asher-Smith and Bianca Williams, there was the small matter of holding off the double Olympic sprint champion Elaine Thompson of Jamaica.
When I got the baton, I was just thinking, just run, just run, just run. And in my head, I had to think, just keep calm, because I knew that they were probably going to start coming up behind me. And especially when I started getting closer to the line, I started to hear the crowd getting really loud. And whenever the crowd gets loud, I'm like, okay, somebody's either coming for me or someone behind me. And I thought, it's probably me, so I just need to keep calm and keep my form and keep running and just pray that the line comes as quickly as possible.
It was a golden end to an eventful few weeks in Australia and set Lorraine up for a successful season. A maiden Diamond League victory in Stockholm was followed up by the jump of her life at the British Championships. In the second round, Lorraine broke the 7-metre barrier for the first time, with a championship record of 7.05 metres.
It was shocking, and it's funny because I knew that I could jump 7 metres, but it was still shocking to actually see it happen, because it's just like, I've been working on this for so long, and to actually see it on the board, I just didn't know how to react except for to scream and run. But I don't know, it was just nice to see that I've finally gotten it out, and hopefully I can continue to get more 7-metre jumps.
Following 3 years of knocking on the door of 7 metres, it was a big change in technique that saw Lorraine finally surpass the mark.
Yeah, my technique has changed a little bit. Been sneaking in a cheeky hitch kick. I was hanging before that, but I feel like I was having problems with dropping my feet a lot. And I used to jump off my other leg, and I used to hitch kick on my other takeoff leg, but when I originally moved, I couldn't hitch kick backwards. And so the hang was kind of just automatic. And I think it kind of just, I don't even know when it happened, but it just kind of happened naturally, that the hitch kick just happened. And then it worked, so we're like, okay, let's keep this.
Taking confidence from finishing 2018 as world #1 and with a 7-metre jump on her CV, Lorraine Ugen looks set to be contending for more golden glory in the near future.
I don't even think she's reached her greatest achievements, just the fact that she sets a goal and she works towards it, and even though she might go through like trials and tribulations to get there, she still keeps her eye on the prize and she still keeps working it. She has faith in herself and her coaches and her support system. Sky's the limit. We don't know. She can do whatever, so.
I feel like there's a lot of people that are not able to necessarily do the career that they want. They do it for the money, but not so because they love it. And so for me, I love the sport and I love track and field because this is something that I was doing before it was ever about money or anything like that. It's just something that I really enjoyed. So that's why I love it.
Now, the answer to our sporting question. Earlier, we asked you to name the only football team to have won more European Cups than domestic top-flight league titles. The answer is Nottingham Forest. After becoming champions of England for their one and only time in 1978, Forest went on to win the European Cup in 1979, and they successfully defended the trophy the following season. Overseeing those triumphs was their legendary manager, Brian Clough. Taking over in 1975, his European success was founded on an unconventional management style, allowing his players to drink and visit nightclubs the night before big matches in order to relax. His 18-year reign ended in 1993, when Forest were relegated, and Clough passed away in 2004, aged 69.
Finale Ligure on the Italian Riviera was the destination for the 8th and final event of mountain biking's Enduro World Series. This year's competition has taken the riders across the globe, and there's been plenty of thrilling action. Enduro is a stage race format where riders compete against the clock over highly varied terrain. Finale Ligure featured 4 stages. The riders were faced with 52 kilometres in total and 1,780 metres of descents.
Well, last year we have a super long stage, which I love the long stage, and this year's 4 super short stages. I think it's going to be a super tight race.
Stage 1 offered plenty of challenges.
Really, I couldn't believe how physical it was. I knew it was going to be physical, but it was just every second, like, if you mess up a turn, you're on the pedals, and you're on the pedals, and you're on the pedals, and I liked it. I think it was kind of like the classic tight finale, and it was fun.
The tight trails on the opening stage caught a number of the riders out, but thankfully there were no serious injuries. France's Cécile Ravenel has dominated the women's competition this season, winning every event. But on stage 1, she had to settle for second, behind her compatriot Isabeau Corderie.
Chris just told me that I won just this first one, so I'm pretty stoked. My goal is just to keep on training and trying to get some stage from Cécile, that's it, and having a fun day on track.
Men's series leader Sam Hill found things tough.
Felt a bit slow, but got to get through the day today.
Belgium's Martin Mays had hopes of challenging for the overall world title, but he broke his hand on the opening stage.
Not so good.
I hit a 3 with my hand, too painful to continue. So I'm gonna make my way up the top and see what happens.
Richie Rude was world champion in 2015 and 2016, and the American claimed victory on stage 1.
You know, it's only 4 stages, so you got to go in from the get-go and can't waste any time.
Stage 2 was a rocky 1.8-kilometre run. It featured just about everything that is tough when it comes to enduro. Amongst the men, Australia's Sam Hill knew that the key to him securing back-to-back EWS crowns would be consistency. He planned to take no risks and put in a good, solid display of riding. His closest rival, Martin Mays, was suffering on this stage and drew admiration from all of the riders.
They just pulled over. He's here, but I think he's in a lot of pain. He's a soldier for even starting the stage.
Martin Mays' title chances were now over. The riders came down thick and fast on this iconic EWS stage.
Well, that was physical. Top section so sketchy, I was like, play it safe here, get through it nice, and then struggled to kind of let go after that. The steep climb in the middle, it just felt like I was going nowhere. Legs were just cooked.
The crowd is amazing, the view up there, it's just so good. So glad I made it back. I'm quite sore, but I don't care. You focus on the next section, if you lose focus for 1 second, like you're down in the corner.
Cécile Ravenel was caught out on the descent and came off. However, she got right back on and ended the stage in 3rd.
I never turn after the rock garden.
Can you see that the sky is falling?
Coming out on top again on stage 2 was Isabeau Corderie.
But I know it's only 1 day, so he's no holding back.
France's Damien Otton finished 2nd on this stage, and Sam Hill came home in 9th. Richie Rude claimed another stage win.
Just trying to be a little safe, just so rocky up top, but enough to being super loose. And yeah, got my pedal down here somewhere. Bent my pedal a bit, so that's kind of annoying.
The idea for the Enduro World Series was conceived in a cafe in the hills of Finale-Ligure, and this venue has featured in every EWS going back to the inaugural competition of 2013. The riders and the fans simply love it here. British rider Lewis Buchanan secured a rare top 10 finish on stage 3.
Honestly, it's picking up a little bit. Just had a solid one there in the top 10s, close to top 15 overall now, so with 1 to go, I'm ready to get the season over with.
Damien Otton finished this stage in 5th.
I missed the little climb with the rocks, and I tried for a long time, and I lost too much time, but yeah, that's part of the game.
Despite the tough course, most of the riders seem to enjoy themselves out here in the spectacular surroundings.
That stage was really fun. Held up a lot better than I thought it was going to. A lot of the new corners were really good, and yeah, it was an awesome stage.
Sam Hill finished 4th on this stage, and he now had the overall world title firmly in his sights. The crash on the previous stage seemed to spur on Cécile Ravenel, and the 37-year-old Frenchwoman was back to her imperious best, roaring to the stage win ahead of Isabeau Corderie. Meanwhile, Richie Rude made it 3 stage wins out of 3.
Definitely feels good to come off the last week and be doing pretty well in the overall for the race right now, so definitely feels good and just gotta keep her smooth to the end.
And so to the final stage of this year's Enduro World Series. Stage 4 was a titan of a trail featuring a lightning-fast sprint across a ridgeline and culminating in one of the roughest rock sections of the year.
That last stage was so sick. Like the buzz of that crowd just pushes you on, and yeah, real good one to finish with.
I have no words. It's totally crazy.
Cécile Ravenel finished the season where she started it, with a victory. The French rider claimed the event win and with it the overall series title. Isabeau Coudurier came home 4th to finish runner-up in the 2018 standings. Sam Hill's 32nd place finish on the final stage was good enough to give him the world title. Richie Rude won the final descent to become the first man to win every stage at an EWS event.
Cécile, the first rider EWS history to get the perfect season. How tough did that make today, though?
Yeah, today it was a tough day. Maybe I was a little bit under pressure for the 2 first stage, and after my crash on the second stage, I say, okay, I'm lucky, I'm not injured, I can finish the race.
And then what was going through your mind whenever you dropped in the men's DH? One of the most iconic stages in EWS.
Yeah, it's famous and it's really good for the crown. You know, when you arrive on the last 200 meters, it's crazy. But I didn't see nothing. I was really focused on my way.
Cécile, congratulations, the first ever perfect season. Well done.
It's not a perfect season. I didn't do the podium in World Champ in downhill.
Sam, another year, another finale, another title locked up. How tough was this one?
Winning any championship or titles, not an easy thing, and this whole season's pretty much been a dream year for me. Last weekend, things got a bit tough, and made me realise how quickly things can go wrong. Coming into today, I was confident, I knew what I had to do, and just needed to get through the day without making any sort of mistakes and problems. I've got a lot of respect for Martin, and it's not the way I wanted to see his day end.
Sam, congratulations, a champion again. Well done this season. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so in Sam Hill and Cécile Ravenel, 2 outstanding world champions for 2018. The 2019 Enduro season starts in March in New Zealand.
That's all for this week on Trans World Sport. See you next time.